All right, let's talk about something that might be a little unsettling. We're going to dive into the silent thieves, those everyday habits that could be chipping away at your intelligence without you even noticing. Ready? Let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Could the things you do every single day, almost on autopilot, be secretly making you, well, less intelligent? It's a pretty wild thought, right? But what if your brain is getting weaker and you don't even see it happening? Okay, so here's the plan. We're going to break down 5 of the most common culprits that are secretly lowering your IQ. And I'm telling you, you're going to want to stick around for that last one. It is by far the most dangerous of the bunch.
So, where do we start? Well, with the thing that's probably in your hand or right in front of you now, the digital world. I mean, our screens are basically part of us at this point. But what's the real cost? They're literally rewiring our brains, and we're just now starting to figure out how.
All right, habit number 1, the endless scroll. You know what I'm talking about. That constant river of likes, new posts, quick videos. It's like a slot machine for your brain. Every flick of your thumb gives you a tiny little hit of dopamine. And the result, your brain just becomes this passive sponge, always waiting for the next new thing instead of actually focusing. It's basically learning how to be lazy, and that ability to just sit and think deeply, it starts to fade.
And that leads right into habit number 2. We've started outsourcing our own brains. Got a question? Don't think, just Google it. Need a creative idea? Ask an AI. The problem is, when the answer is just given to you with no effort, you skip the most important part, the actual thinking. It's like teleporting to a destination. You get there, but you have no idea how. And our real-world problem-solving skills, they start to get rusty, fast. Okay, next up, let's talk about something called the productivity paradox. This is a fun one. It's this weird trap we all fall into where our constant rush to do more, to be faster and more efficient, actually ends up making our brains, well, worse. And that brings us to habit number 3, the great myth of multitasking. We all do it. We think we're being these super efficient machines, juggling emails, texts, and our actual work. But the reality is, it's just chaos for your brain. You're not actually doing multiple things at once. You're just frantically switching your brain from one thing to another. And get this, research from Stanford found that all that switching can drop your productivity by a whopping 40%. Every single switch burns mental fuel, breaks your focus, and messes with your memory. You're literally training your brain to be bad at its job. Now, all that constant brain switching leads perfectly into our 4th thief, sacrificing sleep. We've all been told to hustle and that sleep is for the weak, right? But it's just a terrible, terrible trade. Think of sleep as your brain's nightly cleanup crew and charging station. It's when it organizes memories, gets rid of all the mental junk from the day, and recharges for tomorrow. When you cut that short, you're essentially starting every day with a half-charged battery. Your memory, your focus, your ability to make good decisions, it all just plummets.
Okay, we're here. We've talked about screens, multitasking, sleep, but now we're at the one I warned you about at the beginning. This is the big one, the one that more than anything else is the ultimate intelligence killer.
Just read this quote. Intelligence needs challenge. Let that just sit for a second. See, we tend to think of intelligence as this fixed thing we're born with, right? But that's not it at all. It's a muscle. And we all know what happens to a muscle when you stop using it. It gets weaker. It shrinks. And that brings us to the 5th and most dangerous habit of all, just staying in your comfort zone. When you actively avoid learning new things, tackling hard problems, or even just reading about something you don't understand, your brain literally stops growing. This isn't just some feel-good metaphor, it's straight-up biology. Your brain stops building new connections. And without that challenge, without that resistance training, it just gets dull. It gets soft. So we've laid out these 5 silent thieves. The question now is, so what? What do you do with this information? Because knowing about it is one thing, but doing something about it, well, that's the real challenge. And that challenge is for you. So I want you to really think about it for a second. Be honest with yourself. The endless scrolling, getting instant answers for everything, the multitasking madness, skimping on sleep, and just sticking to what's easy. How many of those are showing up in your day-to-day life? Look, just being aware of these habits is a huge first step. If this explainer got you thinking, maybe even made you a little uncomfortable, then do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you want to keep building that mental muscle, make sure you subscribe because we've got a lot more content coming to help you sharpen your mind. Thanks for tuning in.